Okay, so we're going to look today at how to make an Excel chart more attractive. You'll see here I just have some made up numbers here, and I use the default color settings on Excel to turn it into a chart. Notice I chose a 2D chart instead of a 3D. 2Ds are always going to look cleaner and more professional in Excel, but the colors don't match our branding standards, so I want to change that first. The first thing you're going to want to do is open up the file Excel chart colors, and you'll see it looks totally blank. That's fine. All we need from it are the colors. So the way we grab those are to go to Tools, choose Options, and then under Color, choose Copy Colors From, and choose Excel chart colors. And you'll see all of our official colors pop right up. And that actually changes the color of the bars. If you want, you can just double click on one of them and choose red, and then get that nice red color. You can do the same thing with a pie chart. You'll see here more made up data. This time it's using those Excel chart colors, which is great to create the pie chart. But we want to make it look a little more attractive because there's so many segments in a pie chart usually that make them all different colors can start to look a little frenetic. So one really easy way to fix that and get a more professional, sleeker looking chart is to change all of the segments to the same color. Sounds a little funny, but sorry. Make sure you just select that chart, and I'm going to turn them all red. And you'll see that you can still tell where the segments begin and end, but it's a little muddy, that red against the black and everything. So something nice to do is take the borders and make them white. So I'm going to choose color. I'm going to tell it I want white. And then I'm going to make the border a little thicker. And now you'll see that it's really easy to tell where each segment begins and ends. And we can get rid of this. And then if you're not using Gill Sans as your default font, which I am, but you can choose Gill up here to make sure that you conform to branding standards that way. Let's take a look at that bar graph again because we got it looking a lot nicer, but there are still some things we could do to really make the information pop out. When you're presenting information visually, it's important to know that anything that isn't directly supporting the presentation of that information is noise that can confuse your viewer and also sort of tends to muddy up the visuals. So I'm going to show you some tips for removing some of that extraneous stuff or de-emphasizing it so that it doesn't compete with your information. So the first thing we can do here is get rid of this simply by deleting it, and that makes our bar graph wider, but that's okay. If you don't like that, you can make it smaller. Then the next thing we want to do is take those black lines, and make them gray so that they don't stand out quite so much. That kind of helps those lines, which aren't critical, they're just there to guide your eye, kind of fade into the background. The next thing is that black line around all of the bars. That's kind of distracting, so let's get rid of that. And finally, if you want to, you can even make those lines across the back dotted so that they fade away even further. And now you see you have a much more professional looking chart. Okay, so what do we want to do what are we going to do if we want to take this chart and put it into a document? Well, let's look at putting it into a Publisher document because I love Publisher. So I'm just going to take the whole chart. I'm going to copy it by doing Control-C, go into Publisher, and paste it by doing Control-V. Now you'll notice if you were to double-click on the chart, for instance, Excel or Publisher knows that this is really an Excel chart, and all that information is still there. Well, that kind of makes it heavy in your document. It adds a lot of extra size to your document, and it's probably not necessary at this point in many cases. So what I usually do is click on the chart, right-click, and choose Save as Picture. And then just tell Publisher where you want to save that picture. I usually choose my desktop. I like a PNG format because it allows for a transparent background. And then make sure you have enough resolution. 150 is probably enough if you're going to print it at work and you're not going any larger in size than that. but you could make it smaller if you're going to use it in, say, a PowerPoint presentation, or larger if you're going to be sending it out to print, or making it significantly larger. I'm going to leave it at 150. Then you can just get rid of this, and you can go insert picture from file, and take that picture that we just made, pop it in, and there you go. It should be a lot better in terms of size for you. Now, what if we want to put this nice graph we just made into a PowerPoint presentation? It's very similar. You click your chart, you do Control-C to copy it, go into PowerPoint onto your slide and do Control-V. You can resize if you want. And then, just as in Publisher, PowerPoint has actually imported this, keeping all of the information from the Excel document. Again, I double-clicked and you can see all of the data that's in here. And PowerPoint files are notorious for being way too large because of all the images. So it's a good practice when you have this looking the way you want it to get rid of all that extra information. And the way you could do that in PowerPoint is to hit ungroup, which is counterintuitive, I know. If you have this symbol on your taskbar, that's the ungroup symbol. You can just click that. If you don't, you can right-click on your chart there, go to Grouping, and choose Ungroup. It's going to give you a warning that if you ungroup it, you're going to lose all that information. Well, that's what we want, so hit yes. And now you have something that's a collection of shapes instead of an Excel spreadsheet, which should be a lot smaller for your document. And that's it.